Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar on the American-made Perovskite Startup Prize. My name is Jackie Petrie from the NREL Prize team. Before we get started today, I'm going to go over a few quick housekeeping items. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, you could submit those through the Q&A box at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Please note that there is both a Q&A and a chat box. We ask that you submit all questions through the Q&A one. We'll monitor the chat box, but just to make sure we don't miss anything, please submit those through the Q&A panel. This presentation is being recorded, and we will make sure to post a recording of the webinar in the next day or so on the CareOX pages. With that, I'm going to hand things over to Rebecca Bennett of the National Renewable Energy Laboratory Perovskite Startup Prize team. Rebecca?
Hi, everyone. Yep, my name is Rebecca Bennett, and I am a prize administrator for the American Made Challenges. And we'll just get started with our kickoff webinar. So today we're going to cover the basics of the Perovskite Startup Prize with a focus on the Countdown contest. We'll go over dates, events, submission requirements, judging criteria, and we'll discuss the American Made Network and how it can help your team succeed. But to start, we're going to have Peter Lobicaro from the Solar Energy Technologies Office at the Department of Energy give us a brief introduction on the prize. Take it away, Peter.
Thanks, Rebecca. So we just jumped to the first slide here. Yeah, so for those of you, I assume most people on this webinar already know about perovskite photovoltaics. That's why you're here. But for those who are maybe joining just to learn about this program a little bit more, I wanted to just give a brief introduction to what are perovskite photovoltaics. And so you see it's in a lot of the graphics design that we have for the program. This figure here on the left, that's the crystal structure of a particular perovskite material called methyl ammonia lead iodide. So perovskites photovoltaics, they get their name from the name of the crystal structure of the absorber material, which goes by the formula ABX3. The most basic formulation, like I mentioned, that many of you have heard of is the methyl ammonia lead iodide formulation, but there are actually a lot of different formulations under investigation where the various components can be swapped out for other materials. So the methyl ammonia could be replaced with formamidinium or cesium. The lead can be swapped for tin, or the iodide can be swapped for chlorine or bromide. And really, you can get any number of interesting combinations, and there are actually many other even besides those I just mentioned. And then this absorber material is typically fabricated into a thin film photovoltaic technology. So we have a schematic of one here in the bottom right corner. These modules are produced directly from inks or powders. There's no intermediate wafer like with a silicon solar cell. And there's lots of different fabrication techniques that are being utilized to make these cells and modules right now, from spray coating, solution deposition, as well as evaporation and vapor deposition. And there's lots of different architectures that are being looked at right now, from kind of the standard single junction, which you see here in the bottom right corner, as well as tandems with other materials, including silicon, CadTel, or another perovskite absorber. Let's go to the next slide. So what makes perovskites so exciting? There's a number listed here on the right. We're going to go through them kind of one by one. The first, I'm sure many of you are familiar with this figure on the left here. This is the NREL cell efficiency chart, which has been charting solar cell efficiencies for a few decades now. And the one that's highlighted here are the perovskites. And you can see they've really been just a meteoric rise in efficiency over the last decade to being the most efficient thin film technology currently out there. And so these high efficiencies, especially as tandem devices, are really exciting for space constrained applications where we need higher efficiency modules. Next slide. Perovskites are also exciting because they can be done in either a flexible or a rigid substrate configuration, allowing them to really be applicable to a wide market, and there's lots of different integration opportunities, such as in building integrated photovoltaics, as well as your standard utility, residential, and commercial scale PV. Next slide. And finally, there's potential here because of the various deposition modes we talked about for very low production costs. CEDO has modeling, NREL has done some modeling that shows that there is a path for large-scale perovskite fabrication to be done at a cost parallel or substantially lower than that of current silicon modules today. And not just that the production cost can be low, but also the manner in which it's produced. So here, we show a picture of a printing press for newspapers. And again, what we've seen is that these types of printing presses could be used to make perovskite photovoltaics, and the costs of this kind of the capital intensity of this type of factory is substantially lower than the capital intensity for current technology, solar technologies, in particular silicon. So we have all of these things kind of coming together. We have high efficiency, we have the ability to deposit lots of different ways that can be extremely low cost, and we have the possibility to have much cheaper factories, which allows us to scale much faster to take on the challenges that we face with getting to a decarbonized energy grid. So all these reasons, we're extremely excited about perovskites and extremely excited to be launching this prize program. Let's go to the next slide. So perovskites obviously have a lot of challenges as well, though. So we have a lot of excitement, but we have a lot of challenges yet to be overcome. And CEDO has identified 4 primary areas that need to be addressed. Stability and degradation. As we know, perovskites have very high efficiencies, but their kind of Achilles heel has been their stability. We're still a long way away from having a module or a cell that can last for 20 years in the field. The next strategic area is manufacturing. How do we ensure large-scale process uniformity, repeatability, high yields, things that become much more relevant as we move out of the lab and into a more commercial footing? We need to address these kind of new problem areas while still maintaining high efficiency, which again has already been demonstrated, but not with these other 2 pillars. And then finally, validation and bankability, not something meant to be addressed by this prize program, but CEDO recently announced a new validation and bankability center that will be run between NREL and Sandia to address kind of how do we get this new technology into the field in a quick way and accepted and financeable. So we have to meet all of these challenges simultaneously. And this, if you want to learn more about CEDO's view on the challenges perovskites face, we encourage you to visit our website. We have a dedicated page to perovskite solar cells, which we will be updating regularly as we learn more and continue to march down this road. So this is how CEDO is thinking about when it comes to perovskites. And now I just want to position where this prize program fits into our framework. So if we can go to the next slide. So we recently announced $40 million worth of perovskite funding programs. Here's just some press clips. Secretary Granholm was nice enough to announce this in a webinar a few weeks ago. And so CEDO recognizes that there's a substantial amount of new R&D research that needs to go into the development of perovskite technologies. And this prize program is not meant to solve all of these problems. It's one piece of the greater pie. This prize program is really focused on accelerating and launching new technologies, new perovskite absorber companies out of the lab and into the market. We understand that research and development at the fundamental level is going to be important and continue to be a major part of our research strategy going forward. But we also understand that in order to make any of this have an impact on the market, we need to get more of this technology into a commercial footing. And so the goal of this program is to really generate new perovskite companies that can take on this grand commercialization challenge that we'll face over the next decade. And with that, I think I've done enough talking and set the stage. And Rebecca, I'll turn it back over to you to walk us through some of the details.
Thank you, Peter. So yes, we'll just jump right into the specific of the Perovskite Startup Prize. So the purpose of the prize, according to the Solar Energy Technologies Office, is to accelerate the growth of the domestic perovskite industry, support the rapid development of solar cells and modules that use perovskite materials, And with the American Made Challenges, teams have direct access to DOE national labs, incubators, accelerators, and other facilities throughout the American Made network. And these connections are help turning ideas into reality in just months rather than years. There are over 15 challenges across the American Made network, so we're working hard to get there. So what's the Perovskite Startup Prize specifically? It is a 2-contest program with up to $3 million in prizes. The Countdown contest is the first in this 2-contest series with an anticipated 1.6 million share of the $3 million prize pool. And to support the competitors in the prize, we have our national network of organizations, the American Made Network, and we'll cover that specifically towards the end of this presentation. So, like I said, the Perovskite Startup Prize is split into 2 contests, Countdown and Liftoff. And in order to participate in Liftoff, you must win the Countdown contest. In the Countdown contest, competitors will work to build a Perovskite focused team. They will develop technical and business goals and secure access to equipment and labs with the opportunity to win a $200,000 cash prize. We anticipate awarding between 6 and 9 companies with this prize in the Countdown contest. After winning the Countdown contest, winners can go on to demonstrate the progress they've made, undergo technology validation, and solidify a network of mentors and partners with the goal of winning a $500,000 cash prize and an additional $100,000 in vouchers to spend in an eligible facility. And we anticipate awarding between 2 and 3 companies in the Liftoff contest. So what is the difference between a grant and a prize? Grants have all of these steps, and you often have to negotiate over milestones, and if you change something, it must be reviewed, and it can be a very long process to receive the money. With the American Made Challenges, we have our prize structure, and that awards work that has already been done. You guys don't have to jump through the hoops required of the grant process, but rather you just need to achieve the predefined goal of the prize and complete the submission package. For the Countdown contest, you are awarded for incorporating your startup, building your team, and finding your labs and partners. It's fast and there's no strings attached because you get to decide how to use your prize winnings. So the first thing to do to prepare for the Perovskite Startup Prize is to read the rules. You should make sure you can understand the eligibility requirements, the submission requirements, as well as the details of the phases themselves. And you can find the rules on the website listed here, the AmericanMadeChallenges.org, and look at the Perovskite Startup Prize. So who can enter this prize? We encourage entrepreneurs, solar industry veterans, and R&D researchers, or anyone with world-class perovskite research to enter the contest and form teams to create a perovskite for-profit business. And the goal is to succeed in getting a product into early stage manufacturing. In other words, you can start competing as an individual, but to win, you must be an incorporated for-profit business. And for the Countdown contest, only teams that have formed new for-profit companies after October 25th, 2020, which was 6 months prior to the announcement of the prize, those are the only companies eligible to compete. The for-profit business must also be formed in and maintain a primary place of business in the United States with majority domestic ownership and control. And please refer to the official rules for more information on eligibility. Peter, is there anything you want to add?
No, you covered it.
Okay. Moving along. So we'll talk about the Perovskite Startup Prize timeline. It is best explained as an open application competition with quarterly deadlines and review dates. And so what does this mean exactly? In March of 2021, this year, we launched the prize and it is now open for applications. It will remain open until the first submission deadline on June 30th, and then any eligible applications will be reviewed by experts and winners will be announced shortly after. After this deadline, the next countdown contest may begin for more applications for the second open application period, and so on and so forth for each quarter. So this will continue until all prize funds are awarded. So this means there could be 2 countdown contests, or there could be 7 countdown contests until all of the funds have been used. So this is why you want to submit in the earliest open application period as possible, because the sooner you win the countdown contest, the sooner you could win the liftoff contest. And participants not selected in a countdown contest will receive feedback from our expert reviewers, and they're encouraged to resubmit in another open application period. The Department of Energy will announce when the countdown contest is over, but the countdown contest will have additional submission openings if prize funds are still available. And so leading into the liftoff contest starts as soon as someone wins the countdown contest. So again, the sooner you enter that countdown contest, the sooner you could win and enter the liftoff contest. The liftoff contest does have the same open application competition cycle with quarterly deadlines and review dates. And countdown finalists winning the countdown contest must submit within 12 months after winning the countdown contest to the liftoff contest. And if you don't win on your first attempt, you have one more opportunity to apply for the liftoff contest within 15 months of winning the countdown prize. However, when the prize pool is exhausted, regardless of whether all the countdown winners have applied to enter a liftoff contest, the contest will end. And so again, the countdown contest will continue as long as funds are still available. And so right now, the first application period is open. The last day to submit to this quarter's application is June 30th. So get your teams together and start working to solve this challenge, and we will jump right into what is required of the submission and what you need to know specifically about the countdown contest. So the countdown contest is designed to meet 3 goals: building a perovskite-focused team that will form a new perovskite PV company, develop technical and business goals to be accomplished in the liftoff contest, and secure access to equipment and labs to pursue development plans in the next stage of the competition. So there are several steps in the countdown contest process, and we're going to break them down just to help you reach success. A reminder, all of these are in the official rules document. So first, you must prove your credibility and demonstrate that you are a qualified competitor. Successful competitors will have already produced perovskite PV material that is on par with the current state of the art. Next, you will team up. So the Perovskite Startup Prize aims to incentivize the creation of teams that can help win the race to lead the world in perovskite module manufacturing. You'll bring together leaders in different areas of expertise and skills, technical, business, and the American Made Network can help you leverage yourself up to fill the gaps in your expertise. And again, we'll discuss the network shortly. Third, you must incorporate, as we said, a for-profit business. And to be eligible, it must be incorporated after October 25th, 2020. So competitors need to incorporate a for-profit business and then demonstrate that they are committed to the effort. They will show a clear and credible commitment to their team. Fourth, you'll develop a plan and deliverable table with detailed R&D and commercialization plans. And those goals must be met by, and you're setting goals to be met by the liftoff contest deadline, which will be an assessment criteria in the liftoff contest. This deliverable table is an opportunity for competitors to show that they understand the full depth and breadth of technical and business outcomes necessary to create a successful company. So the next step is to complete your submission package and submit it before the quarterly review cycle for the countdown contest closes. And from there, the prize administrators like myself will screen for eligibility, and then the expert reviewers will assess team capabilities, viability, IP protection, milestones, and deliverable table and network engagement. And again, please be sure to refer to the rules for a specific outline of the assessment and the detailed expert reviewer criteria. And it is possible that the judges may want to hold interviews to discuss your submission, but once they have made their decision, we will make an announcement, notify the winners, and distribute the prizes. And the winners can go on to compete in that liftoff contest within the next 12 months. And if you're selected, don't dismay. You can prepare and submit to the countdown contest again after receiving feedback from the expert reviewers. So what specifically do you need to submit for the first submission deadline? So this is a list of the submission package. You'll have a 120-second video, cover page content, narrative answers to the 4 questions of team, technology and accomplishments, deliverable table, and development roadmap. We also ask for resumes, a technical assistance request, and a summary PowerPoint slide, as well as optional letters of commitment or support. And I want to note that some parts of the submission are labeled public. The other parts of the submission are private, and they're only reviewed by the Department of Energy and expert reviewers who are under an NDA. So please provide us with as much information as possible in your submission. So for the video, we encourage you to be creative, produce a video that conveys the required information in exciting and interesting ways, and don't focus too much on time-consuming activities that only improve production value. You're always welcome to reach out to the American Made Network, and they can help you create your video. And in the rules, we provide the suggested content, which we have right here, as well as the criteria that the judges will judge to score the video. Often, and this is just a reminder, reviewers start with your video as a first impression, and then they will dive into your submission materials. So the video can be a great place to highlight your team, what you're working on, and what is unique. And it doesn't have to be a full Spielberg production by any means. It can be filmed on your phone. And again, be creative. It doesn't have to be just a PowerPoint. Show us you, show us your team, and show us your perovskite material in your video. So the 4 questions. This is for your technical narrative, and we ask regarding your team, why is your team considered world-class with all the necessary technical and business expertise? For technology and accomplishments, what is your technology platform, and what have you done to date, and what qualities give you a competitive edge? For the deliverable table, what are your technical and business goals for liftoff? Are they both aggressive and achievable? And will they significantly advance you toward achieving a sustainable business? And the development roadmap. What are the next steps for your technology and business? And do you have access to the necessary resources to achieve them? There's no limit on the number of words per question, but the total length of the technical narrative should not exceed 2,500 words. And again, please refer to the rules for more details on your technical narrative. In the rules, we do provide a table for each question that will be scored by the expert reviewers. Each of the statements are scored on a scale of 1 to 6, with 1 being strongly disagree and 6 being strongly agree. And so when working on your narrative, be sure to take the time to understand exactly what you will be scored on for each question. We've created a template to help guide you through the submission and writing the technical narrative, and we will show you where to find that in just a couple of minutes. So again, be sure to reference the rules when working on your technical narrative so you can best answer the questions required of the submission. And as part of the countdown submission, we ask that you provide up to 2 pages describing the areas where you need assistance to realize your solution. Consider the unique capabilities that the national labs, a private facility, or other members of the American Made Network could provide you to resolve these barriers. The prize administrator, us, will make it broadly available so that the American Made Network can understand your needs and then reach out and assist you. One of the things that we specifically like to hear in your submission is about your technical needs. Write out the hurdles that you need to overcome, and the network can support you in getting through them. And just so you guys are aware, telling us what challenges you face does not make your submission look weak. We want to assist you and know you don't have everything figured out. And our network is there to help you fill in the gaps and push you towards success. So when you have compiled all the parts of the submission package, you can submit it on our HeroX page, which again, I'll show you just a quick second. Here I have displayed the template for the submission, which can be found in the resources tab on HeroX, as well as a snapshot of what the submission form looks like when you enter in your submission on the HeroX site. So we will jump into our HeroX page. So this is the Perovskite Startup Prize. It's what it will look like when you go to it. We go through our overview. On our guidelines tab, we do have that table that we showed earlier that goes through the submission deadlines for the different contests. And we will update it as Countdown and Liftoff awards are made. We also have a forum. If you have any questions, please post it here. We monitor it frequently and will respond to anything you guys need. And then we also have the resources tab. This one is probably the most important at this stage. You can access the rules here, as well as that submission template I've talked about a little bit. And you'll also be able to see the slides to this webinar in the resources tab when we're all done. So on our HeroX page, make sure that you follow the prize so that you can get updates on anything that happens as we move through it and solve this challenge. That is how you will start the submission process. So to help support your application, we have the American Made Network for anyone interested in competing. Our American Made Network is growing and it gets stronger every day. We currently have more than 130 network partners representing 31 states. We are also proud to connect our teams to 17 Department of Energy national laboratories to enable them to get access to staff, resources, and labs that are traditionally very hard to get access to. And we are always looking for new connectors to join our network. So if you're in the audience and you're interested in helping teams succeed, we would love to have you join the network. Just go to our website and follow the links to connect with us. So for the Perovskite Startup Prize, we have developed recognition awards to encourage our mentors and connectors to support our teams and drive you towards success. So connectors are entities that identify and recruit competitors, and they support them on their innovation journey. Connectors can be incubators, universities, think tanks, industry groups, or anyone seeking to help a competitor win. They attract the world-class perovskite researchers to become competitors. They help competitors respond to the perovskite R&D challenges that Peter mentioned, develop business plans, connect with investors and industry partners, and they help raise non-federal funding to further support perovskite startup companies. Connectors who support competitors in the Countdown and Liftoff contests will be financially awarded as shown in this chart. So for recruiting a team, if that team wins Countdown, they can award $1,000 to a connector that recruited them for the team, and then they also have the chance to award $10,000 if they win to up to 3 connectors or mentors. And for Liftoff, that is $15,000 that can be split up between those 3 connectors or mentors. And we also have a award that can be for teams that do not win the Liftoff prize that can be split up between 3 connectors or mentors as well. And I've mentioned it a lot at this point, but we are introducing the Mentor Network. So this is new to the Perovskite Startup Prize, and we will have a list of mentors provided by our Power Connector. And mentors are individuals with skills, expertise, past relevant experience who can coach or advise competitors as they build their business. And they can also be financially awarded, just like the connectors. So if you have 2 connectors and a mentor, you can split up the winning connector recognition award that way, or you could split it up between 2 mentors and a connector. It's up to you how you want to split up the recognition award. But it is important to note that mentors or connectors can formally join a team in the Perovskite Startup Prize, but when they do, they forego any incentive and recognition payment for that round in doing so. And as I briefly mentioned, we do have a power connector for the Perovskite Startup Prize. That is ADL Ventures, and they are building the mentor network to assist you, which will soon be available. Just watch for updates on our HeroX. Power connectors do operate under a contract to identify and support competitors, so they are ineligible for all recognition awards. Their goals are to increase the number of competitors, expand the network of partners, resources, and tools, and support contests and teams with an increasingly robust and diverse American-made network, and expand teams' access to non-government resources and funding. And again, just stay tuned on HeroX for more information from ADL Ventures and the Mentor Network. So getting started, it's very easy. Just go to our American Made Challenges website right down here to learn more and sign up to follow our Perovskite Startup Prize Challenge. And this will lead us into the Q&A. If you do have questions, you can always email the Perovskite Prize email listed here. And Jackie, I will hand it over to you to get us started with the Q&A.
Thanks, Rebecca. I'm going to give everyone a minute or so to get their questions typed and submitted. But while we wait for that, I just want to reiterate that we did record today's presentation, and we will be posting that in the next day or so on the HeroX page. I sent a link to the HeroX page in the chat, so you can just click that link and make sure you're following the Perovskite Startup Prize HeroX page. As Rebecca said, that's where we post updates. That's where the rules live, where you'll upload your submission. So yeah, make sure you're following us on HeroX for all those updates.
Jackie, will we also be posting those slides?
Yes, we'll post a PDF version of the slides.
Great.
As I mentioned, you can submit questions to that Q&A feature at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. So to kick us off, we have a question that says, how long is the review process after submission, and do you have to be incorporated by the time of submission?
And maybe I can take that one. Thanks, Deirdre. We're targeting a review process that should take from time of submission to time of announcement of winners, including that outside reviewer and potential interviews, to be less than a month. So again, to keep up with this quarterly cycle, we will be targeting to announce within a month of the deadline the winners, who would then move immediately into the liftoff contest. And then we would announce at that same time whether or not the next countdown submission deadline will be open for submissions, depending on whether or not we've awarded all of the countdown slots that are available. You do so the way the incorporation works, we are going to have to provide evidence of when the company was incorporated, again, per the eligibility criteria. So yes, I think is the short answer, that you will need to be incorporated by the time of submission. If you are not, I'm not sure. We'd have to think about that a little bit more closely if there was something going on there. But I mean, ultimately, the prize, if you were to win, the prize payment would be only possible to be deposited in the bank account of your company. And so at the very least, you'd need to be incorporated in order to receive the funds.
Thanks, Peter. Next question asks if PhD students are eligible to compete.
It looks like that's from Melissa. Thanks, Melissa. The short answer is yes. But again, you have to be a part of a team that forms a company. So you have to establish a new for-profit business in order to win the prize. But certainly, as we stated before, all individuals are welcome to start competing as individuals now and form a team as you prepare your submission that then incorporates the business as part of the submission process. But as Rebecca mentioned, the contest is open right now, so everyone is able to start competing now in whatever capacity you have to form that team that can form that company that can ultimately win the Countdown Prize and move into the next stage. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Thanks, Peter. Next question asks, if a team member has an active project with DOE's Solar Energy Technologies Office on the same technology, would that disqualify the startup from applying to the Perovskite Startup Prize?
I would need to circle back on that answer, I think. I think we will take into consideration any funding that a company currently has through CETO's other programs as part of the ultimate selection decision. There are more details in the official rules, but that might be, Jackie, we might need to flag that one to follow up on.
Yeah, sounds good. I can mark that. Great. Next question. Will a company that is incorporated in the US but funded by a foreign entity be eligible?
Yeah, I would refer the question to the official rules. But the official rules, the language is you have to have majority domestic ownership and control. So as long as you have majority ownership and domestic control, you are still eligible to apply. If you don't meet those criteria, there is a waiver process that you can apply with to waive that eligibility requirement.
Okay. Those are all the questions that have come through so far, but I think we'll wait another couple minutes in case anybody is still working on typing up a question. Again, we encourage you to reach out to perovskite.prize@nrel.gov with questions, or you can also post on the forum on HeroX.
Yeah, and also just all the questions that were asked today, we will be posting those questions and these answers to the HeroX page as well. Just so that anyone who couldn't attend today or anyone who's out there wondering the same thing, hopefully you can get all these questions with one answer.
All right, while we wait for any last minute questions to come through, Rebecca or Peter, do you have other closing remarks or thoughts that you just want to reiterate?
I guess I would just say it's been a real pleasure. I think I saw the peak at around 31 attendees, so really happy to have so many people attending and helping us in supporting the perovskite development here in the US, and we're really excited to support you on your journey. We know developing a company, developing a technology is challenging, and we hope this program and the resources brought to bear are here to support you and help you in that journey. As Jackie's mentioned, please reach out if you have additional questions to the Perovskite Prize inbox or to the forum. We're actively monitoring those, and we're excited to go on this journey. We hope you'll join us.
Great. Well, it looks like we haven't received any more questions, so I think with that, we'll just wrap things up for today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thanks.
you.